Mission.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for watching my videos and supporting GunGuyTV the way you do. Forgive my voice. Everybody in my household is sick. I'm almost over it. And that's one reason why I'm out in my truck. I'm getting ready to go out and do some scouting and a little hiking. And at the same time, my kids, my wife, everybody's sick. All right. So since I did the confiscation video where the gentleman in San Diego's law-abiding citizen had his pistols confiscated by the Department of Justice, I've received some communications from various individual law enforcement officers, some of whom claim to be with the Department of Justice. I don't know whether they are or not. And I don't even know if the people who claim to be police officers are police officers. I just know I've gotten the notes, emails, and that kind of stuff from various people. So let me share with you what I've learned, first of all, and also what you might do to avoid this happening to you. And then I'll also tell you what we're going to do here at GunGuyTV that we've already started doing, quite frankly. So here's the first part. I've heard from a number of officers. Some people have said these are not stormtroopers. These are just police officers doing their job. I have a comment about that directly for those officers here in a minute. Many have said that this is something that these police officers do not wish to do, and that it has become somewhat common for them to object quite strenuously with profanity and everything else, and then be told, go do your job. I have a comment about that as well. And that would tend to comport with the scene as these officers are confiscating the two pistols. None of the officers who were standing around really looked like they wanted to be there or wanted to do this. They were all looking pretty sheepish. So that comment really wouldn't surprise me. Here's some things. I'm going to change hands here. Hands getting tired. And forgive me for being out in the truck with my cell phone. I got to get out the door here to go get the scouting done, and besides which, my one of my kids is sleeping in the living room in there. I'm trying not to wake anybody up. So anyway, here's the deal with trying to avoid this. From what I understand in talking to these various officers and talking to an attorney and some other people, this is the word that I got. If you have AR-15s or like type of guns and you can dismantle them, dismantle them. In other words, with ARs, separate the upper from the lower and store them that way. And no matter what the upper is, it's just an upper. It's just parts. The lower is the firearm in the state of California. So separate the upper from the lower and store them that way. And then if cops want to look at it and come with a warrant or something, all they're going to find is a bunch of gun parts. Nothing has been determined. So the upper is just the upper, just parts. The lower then is not semi-automatic. It's not bolt action. It's not any particular caliber. It's none of those things because it's just a lower. And even if it has a trigger group in it and all these other things, really doesn't matter. It's not connected to an upper, so it's not really a functional firearm. So as a result, it's not illegal. I would store all of my AR-15s that way if I were you. I have already done this with my rifle and taken it apart. So that would be my suggestion to you where that's concerned. If DOJ knocks on your door, don't answer the door. That's the first thing. If by chance you happen to answer their door and they're there, the universal answer is no. Because they call it a knock and talk. They knock and they want to talk to you and ask you questions. They want to ask you if they can come in. They want to ask you if they can look at the firearms. They want to ask you questions because they're trying to gather evidence against you. Don't answer any questions. The answer is no. Have a nice day. Close the door. That's basically it. Now, if they show up with a legal warrant, you have to let them in, and you have to let them look for the things that they want to look for. My advice, again, to you is don't have anything illegal in your house, and if you have an AR-15 or AR-15s or those types of guns, take them apart and store them apart, not together. If you're going to take them out of the state to hunt, like I'm going to do in later on this next week, I'm going javelina hunting, then take your rifle and put it together once you leave the state, take it apart before you come back in the state again. That's the only way that I know of that you can avoid getting arrested for these types of guns. So first and foremost, take the guns apart. Secondly, if it's DOJ or any other law enforcement knocks on your door, do not answer the door. If you happen to answer the door unwittingly and then now you're stuck, you're face to face with these cops, the answer is no. Don't go outside and talk to them. No, officer, I'm not answering any questions. Have a nice day. Close the door. That's it. If you get arrested, shut up. Hire an attorney. Don't do anything. Don't talk to cops. You can't talk your way out of jail, but you can certainly talk your way into jail for a very, very long time. All right, back to addressing what the officers said to me about the fact that this is not something they want to do. There are some that do. There are some genuine gun Nazis, okay? But there are a lot of these guys are not They're career law enforcement. Many of them are gun owners. Many of them are Second Amendment supporters, and they're stuck in a position where this is their job, this is their career. Some of them are close to retirement. They're trying to retire, and they're looking at if they lose their job, they might lose their home. They could lose all these other things. I get it. I really, really do. Being a guy of my age in my 60s, I fully understand the pressures that are on these officers if that's the position that they're in. Now, that said, there comes a point at which, and I'm going to say this directly to those officers, there comes a point at which the excuse of my employer made me do it is no longer a valid excuse. It's a cheap excuse at best. When you are violating the constitutional rights of American citizens, then that excuse does not apply. You don't get to violate the constitutional rights of American citizens and then say, well, it's not me, I'm just following orders, my employer made me do it. That's a person with absolutely no character and with absolutely no conviction that the Constitution has any meaning in this country. I get the fact that this is tough for you. I get the fact that this is hard. I understand that you may be close to retirement, or you may have to change careers, or whatever the case might be. But I can also tell you that if I worked for a company and that company by policy required me to violate the First Amendment rights of its employees, that I would end up getting sued and possibly going to jail because I was doing that. And the excuse my employer made me do it is not going to fly. It is no more valid for you as a government employee than it would be for me as an employee in the private sector. So don't tell me, in fact, if you want to contact me today and tell me my employer made me do it, I didn't really want to do it, but I had to because that was the law and that's what my employer made me do, and I argued, but we did it anyway, that's nonsense. I'm tired of hearing that garbage. If you decide to do it, that is a decision that you made as an individual. You took an oath, and it meant something when you took it. You took an oath. I remind you of that. I think you should abide by the oath that you took. Now, with that in mind, I do empathize with you. I get it. I understand where you're at, and I understand that you've got some hard decisions ahead of you, because this is not going to get better. This is going to get worse with Gavin Newsom as our governor, and with the extremely left, anti-constitution, anti-liberal legislature we've got. This is going to get worse in California. Now, here's the other thing. GunGuyTV, we're taking a lot of our video operations and firearms and that kind of stuff and moving them out of the state. I'm taking anything that the California legislature or California DOJ may consider illegal. I'm moving it out of the state. When I'm going to shoot video of any firearm that might be even questionable in the state of California, I'll be in Yuma doing it, either at Sprague Sports or at the Adair Range, and that's where the guns are going to be. They're going to be out there in Yuma or with some friends I have in other parts of Arizona. So there you are. I can't move myself out of California because my roots are too deep here, so I'm moving my firearms out of California, and you may not be able to do that. So that is the way it is. Lastly, I would say to you that if you are not participating with gun rights organizations, you need to do that. The California Rifle and Pistol Association and Gun Owners of California in particular, the Firearms Policy Coalition, CalGuns, these organizations that are fighting for California. If you haven't joined them, you need to. There are links in the description so that you can do that. Please join these organizations and help. And to the degree that you can help out GunGuyTV, I'm not going to turn down the help, obviously. I spend a great deal of money and effort doing this. Just driving this truck back and forth to Yuma, as you might imagine, is about a $100 bill every time I do it. So that's something that costs a lot of money to produce these videos. We're going to continue doing them regardless, but I want you to know that it does cost money. I don't think I have anything else to add to that other than, it's too late to register assault weapons, by the way. Don't try to do that, okay? Don't register anything. And as I said in a previous video, I went through and gave several reasons why you should not register firearms. And obviously some folks either didn't see the video or didn't pay attention. At some point or other, you got to understand that this is not going to get better. Now, here's the other thing. If you are one of those folks who thinks it's okay for the Second Amendment to be trampled on and for the rights of Americans in the Second Amendment to be destroyed, I remind you that your rights are next. The ones that you care about are next. Your First Amendment right will be next. Your right to worship the way you wish, the right to say what you want. That's already being attacked on Facebook, Twitter, and by many other corporations, Google et al. And that type of restriction is being supported by members of the United States Congress who have been newly elected, as well as some that have been around for a while. So if you think this stops with the Second Amendment, let me tell you something. You need to wake up, smell the coffee, smell the bacon, and realize that your rights are under attack. It isn't just my Second Amendment rights or the rights of gun owners. It's rights in general and the Constitution in general. When Nancy Pelosi says she can call a national emergency on gun violence and go out and seize guns all over the place, guess what? Then she also thinks she could call a national emergency to go after people who don't support certain things that she supports, whatever they may be, or speak in ways that she doesn't agree with. This is going down a very slippery slope. So if you're a person who enjoys your rights, maybe you don't care about the Second Amendment, I urge you to defend the Second Amendment anyway, because the entire Bill of Rights is under attack. Well, with all that said, I didn't mean to depress the tar out of you. We'll have some great gun videos this next week, and I am going hunting, so we'll try to do some video on that. That's where I'm going today, is to do a little scouting. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so very much for all of your support. Hang in there, and whatever you do, wherever you go, please be safe.